name is Mary Robertson, and the first book that I've written is called Arrowhead and the Black Gumble. The inspiration actually comes from my childhood and the 100-acre farm that I grew up working on that is my grandmother's place. And so my main character in it, her name's Evelyn, which is actually a nod towards my grandmother, because her name's Evelyn, and the character is a splice between her and myself. And my favorite characters in there are the grandparents, because they are the best parts of my grandparents who essentially raised me growing up. They are amazing people, and I honestly love this book. My heart and soul is poured into it. So when I talk about the farm, or when you hear about the tree in it, that's a real place. It's a real tree. And it was a place that I actually sat in when I was little. Or like the old Alice Chambers tractor in there. I drove that tractor. I've shredded pasture with it. I've worked with it. A lot of stuff that you'll see or hear right about, like the working, building fence, or picking up bad stuff. I was like, I've done that. I've been there. Raised the cows, chased the cows, did all that. And like the magnolia tree, the house, all of that is a real place. So when you're reading that and you're hearing that place described, it's something real.
So the place that you wrote about, has it changed a lot today than it did in the setting of your book?
Yes, it's completely different. It's run down now. The family isn't there. My grandpa passed away. And my grandma's old, and with all of us grown up and gone and living our own lives, it's just not the same, but it's still a very special place.
Is it still in your family?
It is still in the family.
So what is the basic storyline that Evelyn has?
Okay, well, it's a coming to age, so she's a teenager, senior in high school. She's been raised by her grandparents. She works, and while she's working, she finds an arrowhead in the pasture, and when she picks it up, she holds it. She sees back to a past life there on the farm of someone else, of like this ancient Indian tribe that I didn't give it a name because I didn't want to offend anyone of the Native Americans, so we're just kind of a made-up tribe. So she goes on a quest to find the family that this arrowhead belongs to, and she ends up finding out who she is. She falls in love, she gets her heart broken, falls in love again, and then it leaves us kind of on a cliffhanger at the end of what's going to happen next, and then that ties into the next book, Tales and Trees.
So who is the character that we as the readers going to fall in love with? I'm assuming if she falls in love, there's probably a guy involved.
Oh, yes, yes. His name is Anthony, and he actually has an Indian name too, but I'll let you read that in the book. But you actually kind of fall in love with her first love too. It's just like, so both of the male characters, you can't help but love, but you're going to fall in love with the grandpa because he's goofy, he makes inappropriate jokes, he likes to wiggle his eyebrows. But my personal favorite character, besides Evie, because she's a combination between me and my grandmother, is a character named Annalak. She's an old Indian woman with no teeth and is super wrinkled, and she just kind of tells it like it is. And she's never been married, and she said that's why she's lived to be as old as she is. But she's my favorite character, and you really see more of Annalak in the second book.
So I know the young adult genre is often, goes all the way through adults. What would be the minimum age that you would recommend for this book?
I think it would kind of be what parents are comfortable with, because there are some intimate scenes. I personally, for my children, I'd probably say 17.
Okay. So it would be somewhere between YA and new adult.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was and honestly, if I'm comparing it to other books that I know are you're in the high school library, the first one could probably be in the high school library, but personally I'm kind of I don't know.
So mostly an adult readership. Are there any things special about the book that you'd like the reader to know before they read it?
I don't really know per se. I guess really the overall message of it is just love. Love beyond blood, love beyond barriers, and that it comes in different ways. It doesn't necessarily, some of my personal best relationships or tightest bonds of love aren't even people I'm blood related to. And I guess really just a nod towards my grandmother. I can't tell y'all enough how much my grandparents mean to me. And so I guess really that would be it, just a bond of love. In there, you'll see it transcends. Sometimes there's love that just transcends the ages, and that's part of it. There's a lot of characters that come into role in this. There's past characters that will end up being our two main characters that fall in love, that they're connected to. And they weren't allowed to be together in their lifetime, but they end up getting to be together in this lifetime because their ancestors find each other.
That's a neat premise. All right, and I know that you also have a cookbook.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the cookbook?
Well, the cookbook was a labor of love. I actually did not enjoy making it at all, if I'm honest. Like, I don't think I'll ever make another cookbook. But I run a business called Coastal Confections, which is a small bakery for my home. That was my bread and butter until COVID. And so I didn't completely shut it down, but I had to because without big events like the weddings and the quinceañeras, just not making money off of it. So my customers were like, please make us a cookbook, please put out a cookbook. And so I was finally like, okay, fine, I will do it. But I don't measure anything. I'm like a regular old Southern cook. Like I do a handful of this, throw in a few eggs and we'll see what happens. So it took me months to just come up with the actual ingredients and amounts. And the cookbook was a labor of love. It was fun. And I'm Christian at my core. So there's some devotionals throughout there and a few scriptures that I personally like and hold on to. But it has all of the top sellers from my business.
That's awesome. So is it a full meal? Is it mostly desserts
It's
or
desserts.
just
There's like one pancake recipe because it's my 7-year-old son's recipe and it's in his little writing. And he was like, Mom, please put it in the cookbook. And I couldn't say no, so it's in there.
That's probably the best page in there.
It probably is. It's the cutest.
And how much are your books
So
right now?
Right now, I think on Amazon they have them for $11.99, but if they're purchased like through me, you get them for $10. And the cookbooks, you get them through like Create My Cookbook, because I had to do it through something like that. I think they're $24.95 on the website, but if you get them through me, they're $20.
Okay, and do you sell exclusively through Amazon, or do you have other online
They're
resources?
exclusively through Amazon as far as the novels go, and the cookbook is exclusively through the Cookbook website.
Okay,
So
and what is that website?
It's createmycookbook.com. I have a Facebook page called Author Mary Robertson, and I have all the links on there for everything. Or you can go to the website for the novels, and that's booksbymaryrobertson.com.
All right, that sounds perfect. Are they also available in ebook form?
Yes. Both the cookbook and the novels both are.